Hello TYBSc students. Today we are going to start with the new chapter that was related with the host. Now before starting that chapter, I would like to add one slide regarding the previous chapter that was related with the types of parasites. In that we have already seen ectoparasite and endoparasites. Now other than that, there are also some different types of parasite that is not dependent upon where they are present, whether outside or inside, but how they behave based upon their behavior. So for example, the first one, as you can see, the facultative parasite. Now this parasite, it can work as a parasite also, and it can be non-parasitic also, or non-parasitic mode of living. Okay, so not totally depend upon the host, but yes, it can capable or it can adapt itself to the host. Okay, so it can change itself. Second is the accidental parasite, means when a parasite attacked an unnatural host and survives. Okay, example, as you can see, Hymenolipis. This is this example will come later also, related with the host. So basically the rat is the definitive host, but these are present in some of the insects, and when rat eat these insects, it get transferred. So it's a kind of accidental parasite. Then you have the erratic parasite. Just a minute. In accidental parasite, rat is the definitive host, but sometimes if small children eat any of the insect which is actually infected by Hymenolipis, then those humans are not actually a definitive host. Okay, so but still they get infected because of this. So humans are not natural host, but accidentally if they enter into the humans, still they can survive. Then you have erratic parasite. Now this parasite, that wanders into an organ in which it is usually not found. Example is Entamoeba histolytica. Now Entamoeba histolytica should be present, it's a protozoan, and it should be present not in liver or lungs of humans, but sometimes you may find them. Now how they get transferred? If there is a heavy infestation of this Entamoeba histolytica, at that time there is a possibility that the intestine where they are present, there will be rupture of intestine, and ruptured intestine, from the ruptured intestine they may get entered into the bloodstream, and from the bloodstream they may get transferred into the liver or towards the lung. So now such a type of parasite, it is an endoparasite, that is for sure, but such type of parasite is called as an erratic parasite, means it should not be found in the area where it doesn't belong. So it will not survive in liver, it is not adapted for liver and lungs, but they get transferred there, and they may survive for some time or they may die there. Okay, so this is an erratic parasite. So these are the three types of parasite which I want to add based upon the previous lecture of types of parasites. Okay, now we will go to another main part of this particular lecture, that is the types of host. Now we have already seen that parasites depend upon the host. If you look at the definition of the parasite, then parasite is totally depend upon the host. Parasite do development based upon the host. Parasite is adapted based upon the host. So how is the host? Based on that, parasite will get adapted. So what are the hosts? What are the types of host that we will see? Now throughout there are 6 types are there. In many books only 5 are given. I am adding 6. If you find out more, we can add that. So here the first 2 are most important or widely accepted hosts. First one is the definitive host. and second one is the intermediate host. Okay, definitive host, the host in which the adult parasite lives and undergoes sexual reproduction, that is called as a definitive host. So depending upon the parasitic species, it is either a host which harbors the adult stage of the parasite or most highly developed form of parasite occurs, or in other type we can say sexually mature stage of the parasite and fertilization takes place in the organism. That one is called as a definitive host. Okay, so what are the definitive host? Examples: mosquito. We will see detailed example also. Definitive host. Then next you have the intermediate host. Now intermediate host, host harboring sexually immature or larval stage of the parasite and in which no fertilization takes place. This is very important, that the host in which the larval stages of parasite lives, okay, or asexual multiplication takes place. Okay, so there can be one more thing. For example, cow is the intermediate host for the Taenia saguina. Okay, but there can be more than one intermediate host. Definitive host is only one host. Remember, definitive host cannot be more than one. But yes, intermediate host can be more than one. Two different intermediate hosts, three different intermediate hosts can be there. But if you will think that then 4 or 5 or 6 type of differentiate intermediate hosts will be there or not, basically it has not been observed. But yes, one intermediate host and 2 or 3 maximum intermediate host has been observed up to now, where in all these they get transferred, they survive and they get transferred to the next organism. Now intermediate host, why it is called as intermediate? Because from the intermediate host the organism goes towards or become a definitive host, goes towards the definitive host. Okay, so it is an intermediate, in between it is present. There is one more amplifier host, and it's a kind part of intermediate host sometimes. That's why I have taken it inside. In some books it may they may show it in separate way, but amplifier host, intermediate host in which parasites undergo multiplication. So in intermediate host, what will happen? Suppose initially only 10 parasites are entering into the intermediate host, that there is a possibility that it will remain in the intermediate host. It will develop from 10 to 60 or 80 or 100, and then so it is amplifying. Amplify means what? Enhancement. Number increases. So number continuously there is an increase in number, and then the transfer will take place towards the definitive host. Okay, so these are the first two most important types of host. After this there will be more different types: reservoir host, carrier host, accidental host, and paratenic host. Now in most of the books you will get the reservoir and carrier host. In some books reservoir, accidental and paratenic host will be given. In some books there will be reservoir, carrier host and paratenic host. Maybe they will not show the accidental host, but these are in general that you should know. So what is reservoir host? Okay, in an endemic area, for example, a parasite infection is continuously kept up by the presence of a host which harbors the parasite and acts as an important source of infection to the other which are susceptibles. Okay, so for example, a dog can be a reservoir host for hydatid diseases. Okay, so what is there? To increase the infection, a wild or domestic animal which harbors a parasite and acts as a source of infection to the humans. So example is dog. Dog may have it can work as a reservoir host to the some kind of hydrated diseases. Some cats may harbor such kind of diseases. Okay, so basically these hosts they are a kind of you can say the source where from where the infection can spread. Okay, so these are not the vectors. Remember, vector is a different thing. Reservoir host, they are infected by these organisms, whereas vector, it's a carrier, kind of carrier. Okay, yes, some of the vectors can be host, remember, we will see that part later. Okay, then you may have a carrier host harboring and disseminating a parasite but exhibiting no clinical sign. So reservoir host will show the sign that yes, this particular parasite is present in that, but there is a possibility that carrier host may not show the sign. So it's just a carrier, it will just take it and transfer it. Okay, so now why in some books they are not considering carrier host, so they consider carrier host as an intermediate host. But the difference between the carrier host and the intermediate host is the intermediate host will show symptoms of presence of this particular organism or infection, but carrier host don't show any clinical sign. That's why this is carrier host is different from the intermediate host. Okay, the next one is the accidental host, means infection or you can say the host in which the parasite is not usually found. Example, man is an accidental host for the cystic echinococcus. Okay, so infection of the host other than the normal host species. Parasite may or may not continue full development in the host. So accidental means which are not the main primary host, but accidentally it has entered and still survived and we have transferred it. That time we call them as an accidental host. Then other than that you have a paratenic host. Okay, a host in which a larval stage of the parasite remain viable. Remember, host in which the larval stage of the parasite remain viable without further development is called as a paratenic host. Okay, and such host transmit the infection to another host. This is important. The organism, again I should say in other words, an organism that harbors the sexually immature parasite but is not necessary for the parasitic development cycle to progress, means it may harbor the immature sexually immature parasites but not necessary for the parasite's development cycle to progress. So it is not part of the parasitic development cycle, but it is still present. Okay, so that is called as a paratenic host. So these are all the 6 type of host that we have seen. Now we will talk about the actual what is host. Always we are talking about host. So what is host? So host in biology and medicine is an organism. So in definition, in medicinal definition or in biology, host is an organism that harbors a parasite. This is first thing in this definition. It harbors the parasite. Okay, then a mutualistic or commensalist. Now I will not again repeat the mutualistic or commensalist because we have already seen. You can refer to that lecture in which I have given explanation about the mutualism and commensalism and about the symbiosis. So here harbors a parasite mutualistic or commensalist guest, the guest typically being provided with nourishment and shelter. So what host does, it harbors the parasite in any kind of association like mutualistic or commensalistic association, and it provides the host also provides the nourishment and shelter to this particular parasite. Or in other word we can say host is defined as an organism which harbors the parasite, provide nourishment and shelter to the parasite, and is relatively larger than parasite. Okay, which is relatively larger than parasite. This is the very important part. It is larger than parasite. It is not smaller than parasite, because parasite lives within the host or on the host, either inside or outside, as we have seen, ectoparasite or endoparasite. So it is necessary that larger than the parasite. Now about the definitive host. So we have already seen one example of the definitive host. Depending on the parasitic species, it is either a host which harbors the adult stage of the parasite, or most highly developed form of parasite occurs, or otherwise sexually mature stage or sexually mature stage of parasite and fertilization takes place in the host. Then also one more thing, definitive hosts are also called as a primary host, okay, or final host, in which one or on which the parasite reaches maturity and undergoes sexual reproduction. So these are the same definition in the different words. Anything which is simple for you, you can go through that. The host in which the parasite spend its final development stage and reaches its mature form. So this is the simplest definition that you can get. Host is an organism in which parasite spends its final developmental stage and reaches its mature form. So host can be of 2-3 types. Means in host, as you can see, through the intermediate host, organism get transferred into the final host, where the final development and maturity, sexual maturity takes place. Okay, this is very important. There are many organisms in which they get transferred from external source to the inside. For example, Entamoeba histolytica, it gets transferred from water, contaminated water, into the body of humans. So what happens? The body of the humans. So only humans are the definitive host. There is no intermediate and nothing else. But there are some organisms in which there are intermediate hosts. For example, the Plasmodium, it gets transferred from the mosquito. So from mosquito it is coming towards you. So humans are a definitive host. Depends upon what kind of life cycle a parasite have. Either it will be live throughout, develop throughout within the human being, or in one animal, or otherwise there is a possibility it can get transferred from various areas towards the one organism. So this is the definitive host. There can be many examples also for the definitive host. So cells harboring pathogenic diseases, viruses, a bean plant hosting a mutualistic nitrogen fixing bacteria in botany. Okay, so this is one other example that you may get for a definitive host, but otherwise we will see detailed examples of a definitive host. So remember, host can be either organism will start its whole of the cycle within one organism, or otherwise it will come from intermediate hosts, and at the end it goes into the definitive host. So example as of Taenia saginata or Taenia solium, that you know. Then sheep for Fasciola gigantica or Fasciola hepatica, that you can that can be one of the example. Then for dog, Echinococcus, as you can see in the diagram. Then you can see the horse. Horse also may get infection due to the Habronema musci. So it is very important that you should know these examples. There are more examples also, but if you look at the infection that may happens to the horses, so actually it's a internal stomach parasite, and it is commonly found in horses, and it is the most common cause of cutaneous ulcerative granulomas. Means on the as you can see in the diagram, on the skin you may get the some granules. Okay, so because this is also because of the infection. Okay, so this is one of the examples of the definitive host. So here horse is the definitive host, dog is the definitive host, sheep is the definitive host for the fasciola, man is the definitive host for the Taenia saginata. In Taenia saginata also they get transferred into the body through water or some food. Then next examples, as you can see, the pathogenic parasites, it causes disease in the host, and for example entamoeba histolytica. So again humans are the definitive host. Then you have the falciparum, then leishmaniasis. Humans are the definitive host. Rodents, I have given this example in the first slide about the rodents. Example Hymenolapis. Okay, they occurs within um, uh, some of the insects consumed by the rodents. So rodent become the definitive host for this particular Hymenolapis. Okay, and when the rat eats an infected arthropod, and these are present in their body, can transformed into the adult form. So rat become a definitive host. So these are all the examples of a definitive host. So definition is important of a definitive host, and then example. In next lecture we will see about the other type of host, intermediate host or any other type, and their examples. Okay, thank you.